Welcome, guys, to How the Frack We Got Here, a show that takes the news and events of the week and try to make sense out of it all. I'm your host, the most Will Buchanan, and on this show, we simply are all about the facts. There are plenty of news stations out there that simply want to do anything short but inform you. Here at How the Frack We Got Here, that's all we believe in. We go up to the left, we go up to the right, we go up to the middle of independence, we go after all sides because there's more than one side of a story to everything, and you need to know it all in order to actually formulate your own opinion, and that's what we try to do here at How the Frack We Got Here. Thanks for listening, and hold on, it's gonna be fun.
All right, guys, today's date, July 23rd, 2025, and this is How the Frack We Got Here. I'm your host, most Will Buchanan. On the Frack We Got Here, we do try to make sense of the events that are going on, especially nowadays. We do pride ourselves on being a news podcast, which means we do only cite sources from award-winning journalism places. We do not do sensational news like Fox News, The Blaze, The Daily Beast, wherever you get your extreme right views from. We simply do not do that. At the same time, guys, we do try to maintain professionalism, but let's be honest, words do fly on this show. At the same time, there may be things that might be shown that might be too intense for younger viewers, so viewer discretion is advised. Aside from that, welcome. So there is no other way we can start this outside the fact that, outside of a few people that have passed, of course, the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne himself, but also before him, a beloved actor who we really did not see coming.
This morning, fans around the country mourning the tragic loss of The Cosby Show star Malcolm Jamal Warner.
You will always be my son. Thanks, Dad.
The 54-year-old actor was on vacation with his family when authorities say he accidentally drowned in the Caribbean Sea at this beach in Limón, Costa Rica, Sunday afternoon.
Al llegar al lugar, encontramos dos hombres adultos.
A first responder from the Red Cross saying Warner and another man were swept away by a strong current, which is common in that area. Bystanders tried to rescue Warner, but by the time authorities arrived at the scene, he had no pulse. The other man transported in critical condition. The official cause of death, asphyxiation by submersion. For 8 seasons, Warner played the endearing, humorous Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, the sitcom becoming a cultural phenomenon. This morning, tributes pouring in. Tracy Ellis Ross, who played Warner's on-screen wife, writing, "You were my first TV husband. My heart is so sad. You made the world a brighter place." The actor leaving behind a wife and daughter, posting this video a few months before he passed away, a flower given to him by his daughter tucked behind his ear.
Just wanted to remind you, as I remind myself, that no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile.
Yeah, that's where it's really sad because, again, he played so many roles, especially in Theo and Cosby Show, in The Resident, and I can keep going on. The man's credentials are really too long to list, but definitely rest in power and peace and condolences to his family. This is why I keep saying, guys, about swimming in oceans, it's not the fact of how good you are swimming. Please take precautions because currents can pull you in, and that undertow is no joke. I don't care how talented of I don't care how strong of a swimmer you are, how skilled of a swimmer you are. Mother Nature is undefeated. Please be safe. Be safe and enjoy the water. But like I said, take precautions because it could happen to anybody. But definitely rest in power to Malcolm Jamal Warner. Meanwhile, in the world of Taco is trying his hardest to get away from a dead man. He's using, again, the Epstein files just won't go away. But what's so crazy about this is it's the right side that started it.
Push to move on is not dissipating drama around the DOJ files of the notorious sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, including top House Democrat Hakeem Jeffries.
What are they hiding from the American people? Release the files.
While House Speaker Mike Johnson today stressed Republican unity.
There is no daylight between the House Republicans, the House, and the president on maximum transparency.
But more questions on the White House driveway. about whether the FBI will open its files after the president said he wants grand jury testimony about Epstein released following pressure from his own MAGA base. Is the president satisfied that his own supporters are not heeding his call to let it go and to move on?
I know the president would reject that, Kelly. In fact, he cited over the weekend some polls showing that his approval rating with the Republican Party is actually at an all-time high.
Will he call on Kash Patel to do more?
The president has told the Attorney General and the FBI director to release any credible evidence that they find.
Well, exactly 1 year after Joe Biden dropped out of the 2024 race, his son Hunter offered a new theory about Mr. Biden's struggle at that fateful debate.
If we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden.
Blaming sleep aid Ambien taken around his foreign travel for his performance.
He's 81 years old. He's tired as You give him Ambien to be able to sleep. He gets up on the stage and he looks like he's a deer in the headlights.
Hunter Biden also lashed out at actor and Democratic supporter George Clooney for calling on his father to drop out of the race. Asked about that Ambien assertion, the former president's office declined to comment. Tom?
Well, I mean, Hunter Biden, you got pardoned. The best thing you can actually do, shut up. We could care. I mean, okay, we honestly could care less about your dad. Your dad has bigger fish to fry right now. So you going out there and doing conferences on, oh, well, he took an Ambien before, his press conference. I'm like, dude, no, shut up. You barely dodged prison. And your pardon that your father did for you is part of the blowback and ammo that the right side has. But before that, Taco can't seem to get away from Epstein. Oh, well, why are we still talking about this? Why are we still talking about this? Well, we're talking about this basically because you made a big bip out of it. You and the entire right side. Oh, well, once we get in office, you, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, all of your lackeys were all saying, well, there's got to be something to these files. We must find out. If we're elected, we are not going to stop. And you got elected. And Pam Bondi slipped up and said, the list is on my desk. And then all of a sudden from the list, we went to, well, I was just talking about the case in general, to where, Ketamine Musk made an assertion that we already knew, that you were pals with Epstein. And if you were, just admit it. But if he admits it, that means that, because Epstein was a alleged sex trafficker with strange parties on his island. And there's pictures of Taco with Epstein. I'm just saying. And of course, if you believe the love letter that was written by Taco to Epstein, although Taco denies it, but let's be honest, when has Taco ever told the truth? That being said, even his MAGA base is tired of it. His MAGA base this is how I knew that who knew that it would take a former person that was alive, alleged sex trafficker, money mongerer, who knew that it would take his actions to finally get half the cult to turn on its cult leader? Who knew? At the same time, Trump is doing everything he can to distance himself from it, like distractions, like this one.
President Trump is threatening to pull a deal for the new football stadium if Washington's NFL team doesn't change its name. DC's NFL team officially changed its name in 2022 after years of criticism from Native American groups who called their old name, the Redskins, offensive. Now the president writes on social media that the Commanders should go back to their former name and that he'll revoke a deal to build a new stadium for the team if they don't. ABC Washington Bureau's Chief Rick Klein is here with more on this.
Yes, distraction number one. I am going after the Washington Commanders. If you don't change your name back to the Redskins, I will block your deal for a new stadium, thereby still validating how bad he wants to be a dictator. Again, distraction number one. All I can sit there and say is it makes no sense. It doesn't. It makes no sense as to why does he want to turn around and, he has thrown on somebody. He's like, okay, well, my base is not listening to me. We're going to make the Washington Commanders change their name. Don't see that happening. Okay, plan the distraction number 2 and 3. Let's blame the black guy and then go after the Treasury. Yes, both those things in front of a press conference.
Where he continued his criticism of Fed Chair Jerome Powell, calling for the Fed to lower interest rates. He also said the DOJ should target former Presidents Obama and Biden. He blamed them for the 2016 Russia election interference investigation, alleging Obama administration officials manipulated intelligence to try and undermine the legitimacy of the election that year. The president did not have much to say about news out this morning that his deputy attorney general plans to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell, associate for Jeffrey Epstein. She was convicted on sex trafficking charges. Let's bring in senior White House correspondent.
Distraction. Also, former President Obama's office has sat there and said in so many words, we're not going to even address this bullshit. We're not even going to address it. He wants Pam Bondi and the DOJ to investigate them for saying, well, they made up the lies about Russia interfering with the election. They did this, they did that. No, there was actually proof. Little thing called the Mueller report, where Robert Mueller basically was investigating any type of collusion between Russia and your first presidential campaign. Remember William Barr, the guy that you had as your attorney general? And remember that when Mr. Mueller finished his investigation, Robert Mueller, not Kenneth Mueller, my apologies. When Mr. Mueller had finished his investigation, what did William Barr do? He redacted it. Even more so, the actual release copy of the report that was sent out everywhere was redacted. And William Barr concluded there was no evidence that Russia was involved in the actual election at that time. The election that, of course, Taco won. Now, I find it amazing that Taco is now trying to go back and sit there and say, not only that the black guy had something to do with it, he's actually going after the Federal Reserve. Well, technically not him, but let's be honest, anybody that's in his circle goes off his orders. Secretary of the Treasury, Mr. Scott Bennett, calls for a review of the entire Federal Reserve. Why? Because Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell has yet to reduce interest rates because of inflation. And of course, as inflation rises, the cost of everything goes up, consumer spending goes down, and of course, Taco looks less and less like the smart businessman, but more like the moron we already know. That being said, he has pressured Jerome Powell many a time to basically lower the interest rates that are usually distributed by the Federal Reserve. Mr. Powell has sat there and said many a times, looking at the data, that right now we would not be able to cut the interest rate. Why? Because inflation is still up and rising. So now, in the world of Taco, if you don't do what he says, he wants to remove you because he wants to be a dictator. So now his Secretary of the Treasury is saying that, well, we need to do an actual review of the entire Federal Reserve because they're not doing what our Lord and Savior Taco wants to do. So therefore, they must be wrong or they must be removed. And it never ceases to amaze me in the world of Taco because he's trying his hardest to fulfill his campaign promises. From weaponizing ICE and giving them an overbloated budget to basically be the modern day Gestapo, to basically cutting every program that has actually he deems as socialism, but actually helps out the middle and lower class, and gives all the tax benefits to his rich buddies. And at the same time, trying to dodge the allegation that him and Epstein were on the same island, although pictures would say otherwise. Again, he is throwing every distraction he can to make sure that his MAGA base will not turn around and go, oh, maybe I should think. No, don't think. Don't think. Put on your red hat and still be stupid. That's what he's saying. Don't think about the facts, because when you start thinking, and anybody will tell you in the world of sales is to get them saying yes, not to get them to think. When they think, you lose a sale. So what do most car salesmen do? Pressure, throw a lot of numbers at you, say it's a limited time offer, whatever to the point to where you're no longer thinking, you're immediately going to yes. This is what Taco does best. He wants to keep the wheels going, because the moment they stop and think about half the stuff that's going on there, the moment people realize their benefits are being lost, their 401ks are becoming zero, and things of that nature, that is when maybe MAGA sobers up. Highly doubtful, but sobers up. In the meantime, we had Ice Barbie here in Nashville not too long ago to basically give decide to give a press conference here in Nashville. She actually kicked out one of the more prominent lawmakers here. Why? Because she does not want to hear the truth.
At Nashville International Airport. She was there to promote what she calls a self-deportation plan, offering migrants $1,000 cash and a one-way ticket out of the country. That money, of course, is paid by you, the taxpayer. Unsurprisingly, her visit sparked immediate backlash. Tennessee State Representative Justin Jones, part of the Tennessee Three, who made national headlines for protesting gun violence on the state's House floor, was barred from entering the event. It's important to note that Nashville International Airport is part of his district in his state. He says he came to demand answers for his constituents after ICE arrested hundreds of people from his district earlier this summer, whose names have not yet been fully released.
Every other event we've had here in the airport, we've been allowed as representatives. This is the first time I'm being told as a House representative that I'm not allowed to attend an event. I'm here simply to support veterans, and also because I want to get answers from my constituents who've been harassed and who've been brutalized by ICE here in Nashville. I just want to know from the secretary, where are the people of my district?
Jones said he received prior approval from airport officials to attend the press conference, but DHS communications manager Thomas Wackman said that was a mistake. Tennessee State Representative Justin Jones joins us now. Representative, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I want to start right there. You talked about what you were hoping to talk with the secretary about, these people that live in your district that have been snatched up and possibly not heard from again. Do you have any update from any kind of communication with the DHS secretary or her team?
Well, good morning. It's great to be with you all. Unfortunately, on Thursday, Secretary Noem came to my district, House District 52. The National International Airport is in that district, and chose to do what she does best: waste taxpayer money with this stunt, this spectacle, this photo op. Instead of being a serious secretary willing to engage in bipartisanship and answer questions. In the beginning of May, 196 members of my community were snatched by masked ICE agents in the dark of night during racial profiling traffic stops in a joint operation with the Tennessee Highway Patrol. A majority of those people, DHS has admitted were convicted of no crime, charged with no crime, had no criminal record, but yet they want to, paint everyone as being criminal. When what is criminal is this violation of equal protection under law. What is criminal is racial profiling. What is criminal are these constitutional attacks that are targeting communities of color. As my district is the most diverse district in the state of Tennessee, and that's where the majority of these raids and arrests and mass harassment of traffic stops occurred. And she refused to answer as she does best. Instead, she chose, her press secretary, her communications director chose to have me removed preemptively, even though the Secret Service, the Metro Police for the airport, and the airport authority staff allowed me into the press conference, as I usually come to events in my district, including in the airport.
Representative Jones, it's good to see you again. You're not the only one who has been asking questions about people who have been arrested by ICE in Nashville and no information coming out about most of them. A reporter tried to ask the secretary a question along the lines of what you just pointed out. Let's watch that, and I'll ask you about it on the other side.
The Trump administration has specifically targeted the worst of the worst. The individuals that we are going after are those that are violent criminals, those that are breaking our laws, and those that have final removal orders.
My audience is predominantly Latino,
Mhm.
so they kind of every day say they're fearful because a lot of people have been targeted based on their skin color, not necessarily.
That is not true. And so that has been another false narrative that has been put out there in the media that I absolutely want to throw back at you and say that is absolutely false, and don't you dare ever say that again.
So what's crazy is that not only did she ensure that Justin Jones was not able to speak with her in his state, that she forced him not only out, but away from TBI as she was speaking. They didn't have the audacity to sit there and tell To their intel, a Latino-based reporter. My viewers are the same people you're going after. How in the world do you not sit there and say you guys aren't singling us out? For Ice Barbie to turn around and have the audacity to sit there and say, well, that's not true, that's a lie, and don't you dare ever say that again. What the? Don't you dare it. Whose mom are you? See, this is how I know. This is why I say some napkins out there are emboldened because how can I put it so nicely? They don't get checked because she should be checked because that reporter was doing her job. Yes, your ICE, Gestapo, and Department of Homeland Security are singling out people of color. Why? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't see Polish. I don't see Russian. I don't see Europeans. I don't see anybody else that is being picked up by ICE except people of color. That's it. I've yet to see one European person get brought in and sit there and say, well, yeah, I was illegal for so many years. And then the stupid thing was, well, we still want to promote the self-deportation plan. And I sit there and say it's funny for everybody who's all for, yes, get these illegals out of our country. You do know that Ice Barbie and Taco have a self-deportation plan to which if immigrants do want to deport themselves, they pay for the flight. They give them $1,000 when they land, supposedly, and then tell them come back in the right way. All on your dime. You being the taxpayer, it's all on your dime. So I always wonder when people sit there and say, well, I'm glad they're kicking them all out. Imagine if every immigrant turned around and took that self-deportation plan. There's over an estimated 20 to 25 million illegal, 25 to 25 undocumented immigrants here in the States. And $1,000 a pop, if all of them decide to self-deport, and now we have to pay them $1,000 each, do I really need to do the math on this? If those people wearing the red hats do this, I just wonder, would you be okay with that? $1,000 of your tax money is going to them to entice them to leave. But again, this is the bullshit that we have to deal with. This is why I say this is the caca that unfortunately we are stuck with until again next year. This is why the midterms are important. But Democrats, I'm going to get on you a little bit because Hakeem Jeffries, Cory Booker, I get this. The speeches are all great and all, but outside of that, what are you doing? I mean, my thing is, you people are watching your Republican Party turn around and basically break every rule of decorum and every rule of actually getting things pushed through. And I know a lot of people saying, but Will, you're the same person that sat there and said the Republicans have the majority in the House and the Senate, and no matter what the Democrats do, Republicans still get it done, so why even do anything in the first place? Actions speak louder than words. A Democrat could turn around and use every process, put them through every process. Would it be time-consuming? Yes, completely time-consuming, but there's a point. Because the Republicans want it bad enough, Democrats should put them through the paces. You're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. Every process you're going to do in order to get what you want. And in the end, you still may get what you want. But I am not going to make it easy for you. And that's what Democrats should be doing outside of speaking to their constituents, getting to know them before the election. Don't wait till election time to get to know your people is what I'm getting at. But at the same time, if they're going to try to ramrod things through Congress, make them earn it. It's not that freaking hard to do so. I mean, you guys walked out in the middle of a hearing where Cory Booker is trying to sit there and try to convince somebody, oh, I know you're a good man, and there has to be a reason for this. While that man is still talking, moving forward with proceeding. That man does not care. No matter how Cory Booker tries to plead to him, There is no bipartisanship with the MAGA group. There is no bipartisanship with Taco's administration. There is not. And, I really wish going forward, Democrats would honestly cowboy up and fight. Cowboy up and fight. There is no bipartisanship because you sat there and said it's either our way or the highway. And we sat there and said, all right, bet. That's how it should be. But Democrats, this is why I say you guys, because you remain unified until you're elected. And then once you're elected, some of y'all just scatter. And I'm just saying, because you had two Democratic senators that literally stopped Biden's progressive agenda. Two of them. I've said their names multiple times, although neither one of them are in the Senate anymore, but I've said their name multiple times. And those two senators kept a progressive movement from happening. And we went back to a centralist, moderate, Democratic approach because the old guard needs to go. And I've been saying that. The old guard definitely, above all else, needs to go. But again, we will see because I keep talking to this, guys. Simple fact of the matter is next year is not too far off happening. We're in July. We're not another 5 months and we're in December. By next year, all you're going to hear is midterms. And just like what's happening in Texas right now, Governor Greg Abbott wants to remap the districts because they cannot stand Jasmine Crockett because she is talking circles around them. And here's the thing that Republicans know. Their base is dying out. Those old folks are moving on, metaphorically speaking. But their base is dying out. In 10 to 15 years, the minority becomes the majority and the majority becomes the minority. And for the first time in history, white folks are going to feel like they're outnumbered. Hence the fear that they're trying to take care of everything now. And again, this is why I sit there and say to Democrats, now is the time for you guys to turn around, consolidate your bases, talk to your constituents, make every process longer than what it should be. Because trust me, because of Epstein, Speaker of the House, Mr. Mike Johnson, wants to suspend Congress till September. Imagine the fact that an Epstein file scares you so much that your Speaker of the House says, okay, no congressional business for another month, for another couple of months. We won't come back till September. Only goes to show you what is in those files that is so doggone scary that a Speaker of the House was willing to concede Congress business until September. I'm just saying that says a lot. At the same time, guys, we do have two police cases that need to be addressed. And I know whenever it comes to police, I know how it sounds. I know it's the same story. In this case, this young man is alive. But imagine, if you will, a traffic stop that escalated for no reason. Heads up, this is a little bit graphic.
He walked up, opened my door because my window don't work, right? Yeah. And then I said, so what I did wrong? Yeah. He said, well, for one, your headlights are off under this weather. I'm like, okay. There's multiple people headlights off, first of all. And then there's no rain.
It doesn't matter. You're still required to have headlights on.
Can you pull that law up? Huh? Can you pull that law up?
Yeah, when you step out of the car, I will.
Can you call your supervisor? Huh? Can you call your supervisor?
All right, go for it.
Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands.
Here.
I'm here. What is your reason, sir? What is your reason?
Step out now.
All right. No, don't. Get on the ground.
Stop fighting.
Put your hands behind your back.
Put your hands behind your back. Hands behind your back. What's wrong with you?
I was putting my hands behind my back. I was wrong.
Ain't no talking now, man. Ain't no talking.
Fucking took this shit, bro. I was doing it, bro.
What's going on, man?
You're under arrest. That's what's going on.
No, bro.
Yes, bro.
You
Yes.
have a lawful reason,
Big
bro.
Life Center in here too.
You gonna throw me blowing like that, bro?
Yeah, I'm gonna take it off
now,
of you,
man.
bro.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to have a regular conversation with y'all, bro.
That's not how it works.
Too late. It ain't gonna too late. When they asked you to step out of the vehicle, you should have done that shit. So your partner didn't even ask.
Marijuana in his right pocket.
Yes, it is. So why close the door if you see him pull up? Because, man, what you mean? He talking about arresting me and stuff, bro. I didn't do nothing.
It's called resisting, idiot.
I didn't do nothing wrong, sir. Can you back me up to the car so I can mean up? Get up.
Okay, so that was the video of this is, like I said, it's rough to watch, but that was the video of a young man who was being pulled over by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, right? Supposedly, and I say this supposedly, right, that William McNeil Jr. was being pulled over by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office because his lights weren't on. Keep in mind, when this video started, because this is his video, he sat there and he said, again, he says in the video with them, well, we pulled you over because your lights were off. He goes, well, it's not raining, so why don't you have lights on? To which the officer said, well, you know, your lights will be on regardless. And he goes, well, okay, can you show me, as you said in the video, could you show me where it says in the law that my lights have to be on when it's not raining? To which the officer, which you had noticed in the video, old redneck ass was ready. He was ready to do something. And he sat there and said, nope, green light, go for it. And then you saw the window shatter. And as the window shattered, he punches the guy. Let me tell you something. Hi, my name's Will. How the frack we got here? If you punch me and I've done nothing to you, no provocation, no anything else, you punch me, I figured, okay, we about to scrap. The restraint that man had. I mean, you saw, pow, you saw it. The restraint that man had when that dick of an officer punched him. And then the officer baited him. Wait, where's your hands? Where's your hands? Because you couldn't see him in the video when he backed up. But I guarantee he had his hand on his holster. I guarantee he had his hand on his gun. Holster unclocked, holster unclasped. I guarantee it. Because he punched him. I mean, not only did he break the window, didn't have to. Not only did he punch him, again, completely uncalled for, I guarantee in the edge of that video, he had his gun drawn and was saying, let me see your hands. To where this black man, to where Mr. McNeil, again, had to literally turn around, and I'm talking restraint, to show his hands like this. And then they reach in, of course, take him out, arrest him, put him in the handcuffs, flub him to the ground. And as you can see, the same officer punched him again. Oh, when the black cop is just standing there. And yes, I'm going to call you officers out. I will call you officers out every time. I have no love for law enforcement. Why? I have said it many times that the fact in this day and age, you can train for anything else longer than law enforcement. You can train to be a hairstylist, a plumber, electrician, a contractor. You train longer in the trades than you do in law enforcement. Law enforcement, 6 months at best. And if you're a law enforcement officer that's actually watching this podcast, please tell me I'm wrong. 6 months or less in the academy, and you're out. And at the same time, you get some aggression. And it always kills me, before I get too far deep into this, but it always kills me that we as people of color, when they always sit there and say, well, why is it that whenever it comes to people of color, everybody else, if an officer pulls me over and this, that, and that, and this, that, and the other, how come every time you guys can't comply? We have at least 10 names of when we complied. We have at least 10 more names of when we didn't comply. And the outcome was the same. Now, before I get to the sheriff that was trying to pull the bullshit over us, the Hodge twins. Now, I talk about them because they're right-wing grifters. They, black people that just realize if we appeal to white man's fears, we get money because controversy creates cash. I was hesitant about playing their reaction to the actual video. But I just want to point out, this is how some white folks look at shit.
Get all kinds of deals and all kinds of interests for our giveaways.
Yeah. All right. So this dude gets pulled over. I guess it was raining.
Yeah.
He didn't have his headlights on.
And his window is not working. So they're asking him to get out of the vehicle, right?
Yeah.
I would have just stepped out of my vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have.
That's what I would have did.
Yeah. But we
Cop pulling me over.
We Uncle Tom's though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You're not going to win an argument with the cop right there.
Yeah. I would have stepped out. But they pulled him over because he didn't have his headlights off because it was raining. Right now, I don't see it's raining. It looks bright outside, but they said you still need to have your headlights on. So that's the justification for the stop.
Uh-huh.
I don't see what's all this.
It's no fog or anything.
But I don't see any justification for them breaking his window and punch him in the face. Okay, he wouldn't get out of his vehicle. Okay, break your window. What's the punch for? Because he's not throwing punches.
Yeah, unlock the door and open the door and tell him to step out.
Yeah. So I can
understand the cop punching him in the face after he broke his window, he's doing this.
Yeah.
But that was a cheap shot.
That was a sucker punch. All right, let's see. What happens.
Vehicle. Show me your hands.
Here. I'm here. What is your reason, sir?
And they told you why they're doing this because your headlights wasn't on.
Yeah.
It seems a bit excessive to me.
Yeah.
But they're the cops. Do what they say.
That
got out.
Cops don't tell everybody to get a car, but certain people they will tell to get out of the car, especially if you're being complicated.
Who's being complicated? Him? Cops. It's like not having your head. Why don't they just write a ticket?
Huh? Yeah.
Just write a ticket.
Yeah, but his window doesn't work. So I guess they're having a hard time communicating to him. So the other officer went around and they say, well, they want you to step out of the car because your window doesn't work. So, okay.
What is your reason? Step out now. All right. No. Don't. Get on the ground.
Put somebody.
Put your hands behind your back.
Put your hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
Was he resisting though? Or was it just a body reaction when you get punched in the face?
He was putting his hands behind his back though.
Yeah.
Why do you got to get on the ground to put your hands on?
I mean, when you're getting socked in the face, isn't it a natural reaction to do this?
Yeah.
And when you do like this, you're resisting. There's the cops.
Yeah. You just said it.
You just okay. No, put your hands up. Stop resisting. You're resisting.
Stop resisting.
Yeah, this is the
well, when you see him step out of the car, he put his hands behind his back. But they wanted him to get on the ground and put his hand on.
Oh, so they flexing.
Yeah. You can say that.
What's wrong with you?
Ladies and gentlemen, on this day, I never thought, because I'm not gonna lie, whenever it comes to those two idiots, and I have called them out multiple times because they are police friendly. They had back the blue shirts and all that BS, Blue Lives Matter and all that BS. I find it interesting that they turned around and for a second was all like, oh, y'all about to defend the cops again. They slick vindicated that, oh, the cops were being overreactive. And the fact that the cops sucker punched him and the fact that he wasn't resisting, that threw me off for a second, y'all, because again, it's the Hodge twins, much like Candace Owens, much like Jesse Peterson, that group of special ass individuals. I thought for a second they were going to be all back to blue. But again, it just goes to show you how bad, how corrupted cops are. Because again, Peter Rosenberg from Hot 97, I had to give him all the credit for this because he said it best before we get to what their commanding officer said during a press conference. Peter Rosenberg said best. Here's the reason why people why people of color don't like law enforcement. Because the ones in your camp who shouldn't be cops. The fact that you don't call them out on it makes you just as guilty as they are. And if we see that, that's the reason why you will never get the trust of people of color. It's the reason why you will never get you won't get the cooperation that you want. It's the reason for a number of things why some people still say, me included, F the police. It's the reason why we still say it, because again, you can sit there and say you have bad apples among you, but if you yourself are not calling them out, are you not just the same bad apple, just a lighter color? Or the fact you just ain't been caught? Because that's what it comes down to. That officers are supposed to protect and serve. Are officers underpaid? I will completely agree with that. But I do think there are a lot of people who are unqualified, simply put, because one, we need to follow the same standards that overseas law enforcement has, to where you have to have a degree, to where you have to go through a physical and mental screening, to where you have to take de-escalation courses, recognize special needs and case things of that nature. The fact that you have to be certified every year, but they do pay their officers more than what they do get paid here. So, but I will always argue that law enforcement officers should be paid more. Yes, but the critique and requirements and screenings for you to be one in the U.S. need to be sufficiently higher, because, to be honest, since its induction of law enforcement, it has always been good old boy standards, and they've never changed. They just made slight additions to allow for Black men and women. That's it. But I did want to get to this officer who's going to be speaking, Sheriff T.K. Waters, because, again, Black people seeing that a Black man was pulled over for no reason. And I still say for no reason. Cops can use any excuse in the world, because they knew they were wrong for the over excessive use of force. They knew they were wrong. That officer knew he was wrong for assaulting Mr. McNeil. And again, the Black officer was wrong for watching the whole thing go down and not trying to de-escalate the situation. That being said, let's hear we're going to cover up for law enforcement bullshit speech.
Homeland Security and Investigations, our integrity unit also falls underneath him. That's why he's joining me up here this evening. Today, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is releasing information regarding the circumstances of William Anthony McNeil Jr.'s arrest on February 19th of 2025. Yesterday, while I was in church, JSO became aware that cell phone camera footage purportedly of this arrest was circulating on social media. At my direction, the agency immediately began both a criminal and administrative review of the officer's actions. These administrative reviews are ongoing, but the state attorney's office has determined that none of the involved officers violated criminal law. Even though the administrative review has yet to be completed, we are releasing the body-worn camera footage today because Officer Bowers has consented to its release and waived his officer's bill of rights pertaining to the discrete piece of evidence. Because the administrative review is pending, the officer's bill of rights prevents me from releasing any additional information beyond these videos, as it is confidential under Florida Statute 112.532. As JSO's leader, I have vowed to be open and transparent with the public that we serve. Whether the information shared reflects well in this agency or not, I have always done my very best to tell the public exactly what's going on within the agency. When there are allegations of officer misconduct, our agency thoroughly investigates those allegations. When allegations of officer misconduct are sustained, we hold officers accountable, as I've done many times in the past. In this case, the cell phone camera footage that began viral circulation over the weekend does not comprehensively capture the circumstances surrounding this incident, and that is to be expected. Part of that stems from the distance and perspective of the recording cell phone camera. Another part of it stems from the fact that the cell phone camera did not capture the events that preceded Officer Bowers' decision to arrest McNeil. Moreover, cameras can only capture what can be seen and heard. So much context and depth are absent from recorded footage because the camera simply cannot capture what is known to the people depicted in it. As a 33-year law enforcement officer, I understand the importance of thorough and complete investigations. One piece of evidence considered in a vacuum without any context can lead to skewed conclusions. When incomplete cell phone camera footage becomes the basis on which public opinion turns, the results can be equally faulty. A rush to judgment, whether it be in a criminal investigation or in a court of public opinion, can lead to flawed conclusions. Tonight, I'm sharing the footage from the body-worn cameras of the arresting officer, Officer D. Bowers, and two of the assisting officers, Officer D. Miller and Officer G. Curse, so that the public has more complete understanding of this incident. Before I deliver the currently available information and play the relevant body-worn camera, I want to be clear about something. Yes, there absolutely was force used by the arresting officers, and yes, that force is ugly. But as I've said many times before, the reality is that all force, all violence is ugly. And just because force is ugly does not mean it's unlawful or contrary to policy. But moreover, I want to provide the public with some background information pertinent to this incident. Since January 1st, 2025, Jacksonville Sheriff's Office has been involved in 38,805 traffic stops. Even as I speak, that number is climbing. The overwhelming majority of these tens of thousands of traffic stops were made without incident. After this traffic stop on February 19, 2025, McNeil was arrested for resisting a police officer without violence, driving on a suspended driver's license, and possession of less than 20 grams of marijuana. On February 20th, 2025, McNeil pled guilty to and was adjudicated guilty of resisting a police officer without violence and driving on a suspended driver's license. Those pleas of guilty were accepted by a local judge who found them to have been factual basis and to have been voluntarily made by McNeil. After the resolution of this criminal case, McNeil took custody of his cell phone, the one he presumably used to record the footage that was shared on social media, on March 5th, 2025. At no time, February to now, did McNeil contact JSO to file a complaint, nor share with the agency the cell phone footage that is circulated on social media. As I said earlier, immediately upon becoming aware of this footage, JSO began a criminal and administrative investigations into the incident. Had McNeil filed a complaint, JSO would have started this investigation at that time. But we were not aware of this allegation or of improper use of force before this weekend. As this is agency's pattern of practice in any circumstance of use of force, the relevant body-worn camera footage was reviewed by multiple levels of supervision. However, as you'll see in short order, the body-worn camera footage does not capture Officer Bowers' response to resistance when McNeil was seated in the driver's seat. As I explained, although the state attorney's office has deemed it not criminal, the response to resistance is now subject of a pending administrative review to determine if Bowers' conduct violated JSO policy. The law requires that a person comply with the police officer's commands during a traffic stop. This is extremely important. There are not options. If you disagree, take care of it someplace else, but not on the side of the road. No one enjoys being the subject of a traffic stop. And there are times in which citizens dispute circumstances of their stops. But the law is clear. A person must comply with an officer's commands, even if that person disagrees with that officer's reason for the stop. Within 21 seconds of his civil stop or civil traffic infractions, driving without illuminated headlights during the rain or failure to wear a seatbelt, McNeil refused to provide stopping officers with his driver's license and registration. 14 seconds later, he locked his car door and refused to exit the vehicle, despite being told many times that he was under arrest. Moreover, McNeil was warned 7 times that he needed to open the door and exit because he was under arrest for resisting an officer without violence, or police would be forced to break his car window. Soon after McNeil was outside his car, officers found a large, unsheathed serrated knife on the driver's side floorboard. Now I'll play relevant portions of the body-worn camera of the 3 officers, Officer Bowers, the stopping and arresting officer, Officer Miller, the second responding officer who spoke to McNeil from the passenger side of the vehicle, and Officer Curse, one of the assisting officers.
2 days you're not wearing your seatbelt. It's green light. I don't need the lights. And it's not running. It's not raining. So then, it's not raining. Okay, I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you, I'm pulling you over. Give me your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance. How do you feel about it? Excuse me? How do you feel about it? I need to pull it over. I already told you. How do you pull it over? Step out of here. Stop. I said, if you're not putting that for me, we're just slamming the door and lock it. Yeah. So I said, if anybody responded, just go from Commonwealth, what the name is. Keep your hands where I can see them, sir. And my camera's on too. I already told you. Okay. Okay. Right now you're under arrest for resisting. You understand? You're under arrest for resisting. The longer you take us on, the worse it's going to be. Keep your hands where I can see them, sir. Okay. Sir, it's your last warning to open the vehicle and exit before we're going to break the window. Open the door and exit or we are going to break the window. Open the door and exit or we are going to break the window. No, he's under arrest. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Hey, I'm going to break the window. I'm going to break the window. Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands. What's the reason? Called you. What do you mean? I was putting my hands behind my back. I was going to calm down, man. They don't talk.
So I'll stop it right there because it goes a little bit on the long side because what they tried to do, and I say tried, because Sheriff TK Waters, if you ever do watch this podcast, you are full of shit. Amazing to say, well, I was in church, and this is when I got notified that my officers were accused of being pigs, but we investigated ourselves and we didn't find anything wrong. Yeah, there was plenty wrong. Plenty wrong. As in, well, number one, for somebody that's claiming that the guy didn't have his lights on, your first officer pulled up, his lights weren't on. whereas his backup also did not have lights on. So again, telling him that, oh well, pulling him over for inclement weather, you need to have your lights on. It's not raining. It's daylight outside. Why do I need to have my lights on? To which the officer should have sat there and said, I'm just telling you, I saw it. Get left alone. Wasn't even that crucial. But like most officers, yeah, he had a point. So now you got to hope there's something on his license and registration that you can get him for, because now it's looking like well, basically you were failing to do your job. To which he again, and I've said this many times on this podcast, guys. Know the laws in your city and your state. The police are hoping you're ignorant. The police are hoping you're intimidating because I've got a badge, I've got a gun, I've got the backing of the biggest gang in America behind me. You will do what I say. And it amazes me so that the officer, again, he sat there and said, the man sat there and said, well, what am I being pulled over for? Why do you need to see it? Which are all valid questions, because you're wanting to see my license registration on the fact that you messed up. And even more so, I don't blame the guy, because again, Black people in traffic stops, we do not have a good success rate of survival. I don't blame that man for closing his door and locking it. I don't blame the man for calling for a supervisor, because we say it all the time. You can ask for supervisor on duty. You can always ask and request it. And they do have to call their supervisor. Officers hate calling supervisors because they're going to get chewed out later, but that's not my problem. It's just like everybody has a boss. And law enforcement is no different. They just hate calling him or her, whoever it may be. Even more so, the fact that you officers all showed up, no headlights are on. Then instead of, trying to de-escalate, you didn't try to de-escalate the situation, which is the one thing that Sheriff TK Waters did not say. My officers did not try to de-escalate the situation. Yes, there was force, but our prosecutor looked at it and saw no problem with it. We looked at it and we saw no problem with it. There's plenty with it. Your officers did not try to de-escalate the situation. They ramped it up. He called backup, and again, that backup showed up, and all they wanted to do, above all else, was try to get this man to comply forcibly, instead of de-escalating the situation over supposed headlights that should have been on in inclement weather. But what kills me is the idea of force. It's like, so you are basically saying, Sheriff TK Waters of the Jacksonville Sheriff Office, that your officers can lay hands on citizens unprovoked, and it's not considered excessive force. I am amazed. I am amazed that you're going to sit there and say that your fellow officers that serve under you, because that racist redneck sumbitch, and forgive my words, but that racist redneck sumbitch literally not hit him once, but twice, unprovoked. And you guys are sitting there saying, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. But, force is always necessary. And you wonder, you officers wonder why people of color don't want dealing with you. Not the fact that Black people get killed more at traffic stops these days than anything else. The fear of being killed at a traffic stop. Because you have overzealous, unqualified law enforcement, trigger-happy, sometimes racist sumbitches with a badge. And then you as a Black man who supposedly was supposed to, fix the system, you are basically being the blue wall of silence that has served law enforcement since the beginning of time. Instead of you sitting there saying, well, we couldn't find anything about local investigation, but our administrative will look into it. You're basically giving lip service, sir. Even more so, I love the fact they try to say, well, when we finally got this man arrested, we found marijuana, we found a long knife under his seat, we found this, and this. Oh, so we're gonna justify the fact that we basically fucked up, but now we have justification for the fuck up. That's all you're saying. And even more so, you would have none of this if your officer tried to de-escalate. Your officer did not try to de-escalate the situation. Your officers were already at the ready to basically to do worse to this young man, to do worse to Mr. McNeil. You were already at the ready to do so at the same time over lights. Yes, I will point out Sheriff T. I will point you out, Sheriff, because yes, you should. If that is your answer to protect your officers first and the citizens second, you do not need to be in law enforcement. You don't. You honestly don't. Because that's the thing about law enforcement. Hence why the cameras. I'm always about transparency. It is amazing how quickly camera footage is put out when law enforcement has done nothing wrong in their eyes. When law enforcement has done nothing wrong in their eyes, oh, here's the footage immediately. But when law enforcement fucks up, oh, we have to wait because we're still investigating ourselves. We have to investigate ourselves to make sure we're clear before we show you anything. Thank goodness that man did have a cell phone. And if you do have a cell phone, folks, record yourselves, especially at traffic stops. Record yourselves. Protect yourself. Have cloud upload if an option for your phones when you record. Why? Because I guarantee, if that young man's phone wasn't on, or if it was not recording, we would have never seen that. All we would have saw was the officer's point of view. And trust me, it didn't show shit outside of him being aggravated because the driver asked a single question. So again, fuck the police. At the same time, the case of Jabari Peoples. If you don't know this story, you should know this one as well. And again, it's graphic.
This makes us think even more about what happened. But most importantly, it underscores again why we got to see that video.
Attorneys in the Jabari Peoples case involved with an independent investigation of the 18-year-old who died after being shot by a Homewood police officer revealed the results of a preliminary independent autopsy. ABC 3340's Austin Pratt was at the press conference today. And Austin, what did the autopsy show?
Brenda, it shows Jabari was killed by a gunshot wound in his lower back. Now, the autopsy was done without any supporting evidence, leaving many questions unanswered. Without the body camera footage, it's hard to really tell what happened.
We buried our child Saturday, and we buried him Saturday, and it's hard. It's hard to even think about burying your child.
3 weeks after his son, Jabari Peoples, was shot by a Homewood police officer, dying from his injuries, his father, William Peoples, is still calling for justice and transparency. His legal team, in a news conference Tuesday, revealed the preliminary findings of an independent autopsy the family had done.
Based on the preliminary information, this sketch appears to show a possible entry of a gun wound right there. We need the bullet. We need to know where the bullet is because it's not in the body. We have questions.
The bullet has been removed from the body, but it's believed its trajectory ended in his vital organs, possibly one of his lungs or in his heart. I asked his legal team if Jabari was bent over for the trajectory to have that course, and attorney Ben Crump responded.
We don't know, and we don't want to make assumptions, but obviously the medical examiner has some thoughts, but she won't relay those thoughts conclusively because the video would tell us exactly the position he was in when the shot was fired.
People's family, everyone involved in the family's lawsuit, an independent investigation is calling for Aaliyah and the Homewood Police Department to provide the evidence necessary to know what happened that night.
Only thing we want to do is see the video. We want to see the video. Just show us what happened to our child, please.
Show the video.
Show the video, please.
After the news conference, traffic was halted on the streets of Homewood as his family, supporters, and community leaders marched to Homewood City Hall for a protest.
Don't sweep it on the rug. We're gonna raise the rug back out. We're gonna find it. Yeah. Justice for Jabari. Justice for Jabari people.
And to add to that, Alabama governor, of course, has also said that the footage will not be released. So it just goes to show you, again, law enforcement is pretty good at covering themselves before they actually cover individuals. But we will cover that story as well as Mr. McNeil's case, because again, I hate to say it, it feels like the same BS whenever it comes to law enforcement, that the only way it's actually going to change is through reform. But until it actually happens, well, again, I hate to say it's the same old story. But speaking of a story that I did not expect, also with an outcome that just annoys me so, Breonna Taylor. It's been a while since that name's been said, but everybody knows the story. The detective, ex-officer, I should say, ex-officer Brett Hankinson, well, whatever the fucker's name is. Apologies. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Yes, I cannot make that up.
Some breaking news coming into our newsroom right now. The former Kentucky police officer convicted of violating a civil rights offense in relation to the death of Breonna Taylor has been sentenced to 33 months in prison. 3 years of supervised release is set to follow that sentence. Brent Hankinson fired 10 rounds through Taylor's apartment but did not hit anyone. Taylor was killed by another officer during that raid. The Department of Justice is asking for Hankinson to receive 1 day of imprisonment. Protesters were arrested outside the courthouse where the sentencing took place, including Breonna Taylor's aunt.
Crazy, isn't it? Crazy.
And
3 years. Keep in mind, Breonna Taylor was killed in her sleep from a no-knock warrant that was obtained through illegal means, to which officers shot into the apartment because her boyfriend fired back in self-defense, to which the boyfriend is still alive. Charges were dropped against him ultimately, but the officers involved, except for Mr. Brett that just happened, basically got no jail time. It took a civil matter to be brought up by the former Department of Justice, thankfully not under Pam Bondi because it would have been thrown out the freaking window. But thanks to Merrick Gardner and his DOJ, they got 3 years. It's not enough. It doesn't feel like a victory. It feels like it's a handout to all those that says that these officers should have been locked up. They should have been locked up, put under the jail. But 3 years? 3 years. It's not enough. It's nowhere near enough. And honestly, until we actually hear life in prison, because the punishment should fit the crime. He took a life, so therefore his life should be forfeit. But again, whenever it comes to law enforcement, they have better protection. Actually, when it comes to basically America themselves, and this kind of goes into the next video I have, the way that protection works in America is guns, law enforcement, racists, and bigots. What I'm getting at is, I understand debating. I love to debate other people. I really do. But what Jubilee has done, and if you've seen the video, you probably have. I'm only going to show a bit of it because they do this thing called Surrounded, to which 20 people will debate this one person. Of course, in the video I'm about to show, Mehdi Hassan, who is a progressive, was basically debating against 20 far-right wing conservatives. Now, here's what I'm getting. The reason why I'm telling all this, guys, is because I want to show a particular point. And this is where I say Jubilee only does what social media has done so long. So it has done for years now. controversy creates cash. Eric Bischoff said it best. Controversy creates cash. And Jubilee did get a lot of hits off this video and others. But there is a double-edged sword to that, because as much as I keep saying shine the light on these idiots, it's also proven that these idiots are protected. But first, let me start with the video.
Andy, lovely to meet you. So I would say that with Trump being anti-Constitution, I don't really care, to be quite frankly, because in regards to the Constitution is a document that should seek to serve us. And when it fails to seek to serve us, that can be amended. Laws can be changed. And quite frankly, the fact is we're defending things in this country that shouldn't be defended. The First Amendment should not defend pornography and making children and women be victimized. Making women and children be victimized as a result of that. I think things like blasphemy shouldn't be allowed per the First Amendment. I think that, quite frankly, there are a lot of legal processes that are enabling criminals and bad people to fully enact their will in this country in the name of the Constitution or following the Constitution. So, quite frankly, if Trump is anti-Constitution, good, and I think he should go further.
So this is wonderfully revealing of the modern conservative mindset. So I appreciate you spelling it out so openly. Just checking, do you support the Second Amendment?
I do.
Okay, surprise! I was shocked to hear that. I'm saying that Donald Trump is defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He's thinking of defying the 12th and 22nd Amendments. You're saying you don't care about the Constitution, but actually you do, because you quite like the Second Amendment. You just don't like the bits that you disagree with. Can I just be clear on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm more than willing to amend it and include
whenever
the
it's in
Second
your
Amendment.
favor.
Yeah, absolutely.
So can Democrats do the same when they're in office?
No, absolutely not. Because
so you don't
it's the
believe in
friend enemy.
democracy?
No, I don't. Absolutely not.
What do you believe in?
Autocracy.
By who?
Honestly, quite frankly, anyone who is in line with Catholic teaching.
Donald Trump is not Catholic.
Of course, he's not. I completely agree. And
So
that's
you
part of the
support Trump?
problem.
You don't support Trump?
No, I don't. I didn't even vote for him. I wrote in like John Pork or someone. I can't even remember.
Why did you vote if you don't believe in democracy and you want autocracy?
Well, because quite frankly, I voted. I kind of voted just to
I came with this argument, but I'm bored of my own argument. I'm much more interested in this. So
yeah, absolutely.
How do we get to an autocracy?
I think, quite frankly, that if we are able to enact local leaders,
Who is the we, by the way?
I think, quite frankly, these far right conservatives sitting right around
White
me.
people?
Yeah,
No brown
absolutely.
people. So,
well,
some
actually,
of you guys,
I have quite
some of the people in this room don't make the cut from what I can see visually.
Actually, hold on for a moment. I do think that there are people who happen to not be white who do actually have history in this country and have roots in this country. For instance, from the Mexican-American War, we subsumed a lot of territory of people who have far stakes in this country who happen to be Hispanic or what have you. I'm for defending the traditional demographics of this country, which is majority white, and should stay that
How
way.
does the United States... I mean, we've gone so off topic, but how does the United States look like under you? Sorry, what's your name?
My name is, my name's Connor. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Took a little bit of a doubt there.
Oh, well, I use a pseudonym online.
Fair enough.
But fair enough.
How would Connor's America look? What would it look like?
Well, quite frankly, I think we would deport people who shouldn't be here.
No, I didn't ask about deporting. What does the government look like?
What does the government look like?
Yeah.
I would say, quite frankly, it's under a sort of benevolent leader, such as
Where does he come
Franco. It could be a kind of aristocratic class. Could be someone
No, but who picks the autocrat?
Frankly, the people. I mean, we could hold a vote on it. Kings were
isn't that democracy?
Well, sure. You can have a vote to get to that state.
And then no more votes afterwards?
Absolutely.
Wow.
100%.
Wow. And if that autocrat kills you and your family, you're fine with that?
Well, I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills, because that's the whole thing.
How do you know?
Carl Schmitt
Autocrats tend to kill everyone,
Carl
even their own
Schmitt makes
supporters.
this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right?
Carl
liberals,
Schmitt, the Nazi theoretician.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care.
Are you a fan of the Nazis?
I don't. I frankly don't care being called a Nazi.
I didn't say that. I didn't actually say that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. But
what about the persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
But you don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution.
We
and
may
stuff
have
like
to
that, which is
rename the
bad,
show
but-
because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you can say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am.
Absolutely. I'm just checking who's clapping just to get my set of where everyone is on this. Because you know that millions of people are going to be watching you on YouTube and checking out who the fascists and the Nazis are.
I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever.
No, clearly you're not.
During the
Clearly
pre-war period, prior to World War II, it was only those parties that properly enacted the people's will. That's why they won. The conservatives were fat cats.
Are
They
you
were
in favor
aristocrats. They didn't care.
favor of killing people who aren't like you?
Quite frankly, I'm not.
You mentioned Franco earlier. Franco killed a lot of innocent people.
Oh, well, he killed communists. He killed people who raped nuns and killed priests.
What about children who he killed and women who he killed?
What are you talking about? He never killed any women or children. He was Catholic.
He only killed combatants. Is that what you're claiming?
Yeah, he only killed combatants.
Never killed any innocent people.
The White Terror was only punishing those people who did acts of terrorism. And again, are you supporting like raping innocent women? Nuns, dude. Killing priests? I mean, priests don't brandish guns and kill people.
You just refuse to condemn the Nazi Holocaust, my friend. I don't think you're in a position to ask anyone any questions.
I quite frankly don't care what you think about me. If I'm a Nazi and being a Nazi
is mutual,
and being a Nazi means upholding human dignity, because I even believe in your dignity. I don't in a state that I was running. I wouldn't want to hurt you or anything like that. But quite frankly,
I don't debate fascists.
Okay. So do you concede then? I mean, why
do I concede you're a fascist who won't condemn the Nazis?
Yeah.
Yes, I concede that.
Okay, great. So I mean, what are we doing here? Because I mean, you just seem
know
offended.
what you're doing here.
You just seem offended, to be quite frankly. Like
I'm offended by people who can't condemn the Nazis. Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, I condemn the evils that they did, but I don't really
Against
care
the
about
Jews?
being. Yeah, sure. I don't care about being called a Nazi.
Sure.
Is the whole thing.
I never called you a Nazi.
I care
You
about
called
doing
yourself
the right
a Nazi,
thing.
a fascist, and a General Franco
Well,
supporter.
yeah, I am a General Franco supporter. He was awesome. He was so super cool, quite frankly. Because the whole
And you
thing,
don't believe in democracy.
I don't believe in democracy.
What are you doing here at a televised debate?
Because-
This is democracy. Don't want to debate and disagree.
Because it is the means to support an end. The reason we have free speech now is because we want to be openly talking about our opinions so we can get the state that we want. But it doesn't mean
This is
upholding
great.
free speech after we win.
I
mentioned
the only good thing about this fascist moment
the
we're in
whole reason
is that you guys are so open about it.
The
It's
whole
great.
reason
Say
I
the
mentioned
quiet part loud.
the
Keep saying
whole
it.
reason I mentioned Carl Schmitt earlier, and you kind of blew past him, is the friend-enemy distinction.
Past him because of the Nazi
Even
point.
liberals, when they take power, they want to enact policies and they want to enact protections for their people and their ideas, and they're willing to punish their enemy. And so I'm the same way. I'm like, hey, if you're going to punish me, I'm going to get in power, and I'm going to frankly punish you when you try to leverage power against me. Just that simple.
I'm not sure what you want to say.
Hey, it is what it is.
So I'm stopping it right there. And the reason why I'm stopping it right there, because the look on Hassan's face is the same look I had. Because if you watch the entire hour and 43 minutes of this, not only is it, I'm not going to lie, Jubilee, this is nauseating. It's nauseating because you're giving individuals like this, individuals like that sumbitch right there, you're giving them a platform to spew hate, to spew bigotry, to spew ignorance. Because Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, and so many others who call themselves empowered, independent thinkers are the ones telling other idiots it's okay to speak whatever it is on your mind because consequences don't follow. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because that gentleman right there has a GoFundMe page. Yes, has a GoFundMe page because apparently his job had found out that he was on this Surrounded by, produced by Jubilee, that he did proclaim himself to be a fascist, to be a Nazi supporter. And his job sat there and said, well, you can go. You're fired. And so what does that gentleman do right there? Connor does. He turns around and starts a GoFundMe page. I refuse to put up that GoFundMe page because I don't want to send any traffic to it. But I will tell you that that GoFundMe page is now sitting at $32,000 in donations. $32,000 in donations because he claimed that he was being persecuted for his opinions and that his job was basically discriminating against him. This is what I really, really, really despise. I am a big supporter of the First Amendment. This podcast is built around it. But the part of the First Amendment is You have the right to say whatever it is you want. You are not absolved of the consequences that happen next. You are not absolved, which means, ergo, if you say something outrageous, like, hey, I am a fascist, I am a Nazi supporter, what do you think is going to happen to you? Folks don't want to be associated with either of those things. Companies, businesses don't want to be associated with those things. Have we not learned from history? The former owner of the LA Clippers, thanks to his girlfriend, he was still separated, by the way, thanks to his girlfriend recording him saying, I don't want you hanging around in words at the game. And what happened? There was a movement. Adam Silver and others decided to oust it, and the Clippers were sold to another rich person. I can keep going down the line of when Phil Robertson and them was a Duck Dynasty. Remember those views they had and what happened to them? A&E had to drop them. They did get picked up by conservative networks and still are on some conservative networks. But again, they spoke their mind thinking that they were unabsolved. Where's Duck Dynasty now? Probably on some conservative Christian network. I am certain of it. So I am not surprised that, Connor, if that's his name, lost his job. But what amazes me so is the sticker shock that's like, I just spoke my mind. Why am I being persecuted for speaking my mind? You're not being persecuted for speaking your mind. You are seeing the ramifications of what you say. And the one thing I'll say about that Jubilee piece was around it, that unfortunately there are other people out there that think like him, that think that they're smart, that think that they're right, that think that we shouldn't have democracy, that think that even Taco, what he's doing is correct. And they don't want to argue. I mean, let me say something. They don't want to argue. They just want to scream. They just want to be louder. They just want to talk over you. It's almost like people forgot how to debate, because when you debate, you actually have to bring facts and logic into it. But I'll say it like this, and I say it all the time, and I know I should be tired of it, but seeing MAGA folks, when you introduce logic to them and facts, their brain short circuits. To me, it's fun. But arguing those types of people is basically like playing chess with a pig. The pig doesn't care about the board game. It will throw mud all over the place, roll in it, be happy you're in the pig pen with them, because now they have a playmate and they're not alone. So I don't feel bad that Connor lost his job, but it just goes to show you that ignorant folks protect ignorant folks, because now, thanks to his GoFundMe, he's got $32,000 in his search for the job. I don't wish unemployment on anyone, but if you call yourself a fascist and a Nazi supporter, I hope you stay unemployed so you have no choice but to use socialist programs, the very things you stand against. And to see the amount of shame in your eyes when you do it is worth it. But the last story I got, guys, deals with the WNBA. Thanks to the emergence of players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, the WNBA is getting more. They actually did sign a new collective bargaining agreement. I believe that they do sign a new TV deal that's a little over $2 billion. Which I think, I'm sorry, right? I think it's 2.2. Help me out here. It's 2.2 billion over the next 11 years. So that's around about 200 million per year. But what's so crazy about this, that the WNBA, you got more stars, you got more people watching, more people going to games, buying more merch. You are seeing this particular image where WNBA stars are pretty much saying, no, pay us what you owe us, because they are not getting paid a lot. I mean, outside of endorsements, Caitlin Clark is, of course, probably one of the more higher players. Angel Reese, obviously, one of the more higher paid players. But overall, they are not getting their worth, considering the fact that WNBA just signed a $2.2 billion TV deal. And I have said this before about the WNBA, that if the same amount of money that the NBA, which the NBA pours billions of dollars into that, And of course, their players, of course, make life-changing money. The WNBA should be the same. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. This goes back to arguments of millionaires versus billionaires. Because again, if you are putting your body on the line multiple times every night for a period of seasons, you should be paid for it. At the same time, I do think the WNBA does need to have, the WNBA does need to look at its players and go, yes, you should be paid more. And let's see how you can do it. But this is an ongoing story as more of WNBA players are joining this, wearing the shirt. Yeah, pay us what you owe us. I'll fully agree. But we will follow up that story and see what the WNBA does since their new agreements and see will they follow through or will this be another issue? Either way, we'll find out. But we're going to go and move on to our feel-good segment because usually on How the Frack We Got Here, we usually cover a lot of things that are doom and gloom, sometimes making you fake humanity. But hey, it's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. We will leave you guys out some good vibrations. And this man who is former football player, who is being a mentor to men. And I say to men because, again, not only young men, but men who are incarcerated. This man has made it his life's mission to basically lift those men up.
For these young men, basketball has been a saving grace in so many ways. But this is no regular court. This gym is on New York's infamous Rikers Island. The players, inmates. Their coaches, correction officers. They're more like a family. And the man behind it, more like a father figure.
Emoji, pull up. Emoji, pull up.
Former professional football player and Super Bowl champion turned pastor, Timothy Johnson.
Why specifically Rikers? So I prayed one day and I heard him tell me the words. He spoke to me and said Rikers Island. But I actually did a little research and found like, this is a bad place. They call it hell on earth.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he spoke to me about going there, that began the journey of a lifetime.
The initiative is called Fatherless No More. The goal is to show these young men a new way of living. They're all here for a myriad of reasons, many charged with violence, gun possession, or gang-related crimes.
Use the tools in your tool belt. We've been equipping you. We've been giving you everything you need. Use your tool.
They share the need for a father figure and the desire to change their ways.
Fatherless No More. What is the significance in the name? If you look across a landscape of every social indicator in our country, in our world, you'll find that fatherlessness is at a crisis level. Mm-hmm. See the effects, but we don't look at the root of the effects, whether it's poverty, incarceration, the level of teen pregnancy, domestic abuse. These men had a father. Whether they know him or not is not the issue. The issue is that root, that hole in their soul has not been healed.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
And as they await trial, Pastor Tim wants to change them while there is still a chance. It begins with Bible study.
Who wants to read that?
As Jesus was walking along, he saw a man who had been blind from birth.
An open discussion about applying those lessons toward their lives.
In the moment, not being spiritually blind.
Making a decision in the moment is what blinds you. Being caught up in your feelings, caught up in your emotions, caught up in reacting to something that was done to you. You feel slighted, you feel wrong.
He's also healing these young men by showing them fatherly love.
I love you, Shamari.
I love you too.
First time he met me, he grabbed my face and told me he loved me. I thought he was crazy at first. He never met me. And as time went on, I see that he actually cares about us.
Those words of love and affirmation flow freely.
I love you. You're a good brother, good teammate.
I'm not happy you're in jail. I'm happy we're together in jail and doing this. I want to say I love you.
And all that love gives way to deep buried pain.
I freaking want to play basketball no more. I had a lot going on.
What was he struggling with?
The reality of being on Rikers Island and not having ready access. He loves his family. He's a family guy.
My daughter was born 2 days after I got arrested. So I feel bad. Like, I felt like I left her. I was kind of getting depressed. I feel like I ain't have nobody.
You're losing your own life, Los. I've been through it. Look at what you have. You got a whole family.
It ended with a hug. Why a hug?
when you're isolated and you're in a place where you don't get to see a lot of pictures of yourself, not a lot of mirrors, you can kind of lose a sense of being human. And sometimes having a father figure hug you gives answers that are unspoken.
The impacts of Pastor Tim's work can be felt throughout the jail.
The violence in the facility, it's decreased. And the Fatherless No More initiative says, no matter what you go through, I'm going to be there to support you and provide you with the mentorship that you need to get through it.
That's what he's doing. He's healing us. That's what he's doing. And you actually see it. Kids are calm. And that's the most beautiful thing to see, that they start to feel loved.
This initiative only made me better as well. It's not just for the population of the inmates. PT helped officers with hugs. He helped officers with kind words.
Let's pull up.
This initiative showed me that, like, we're not alone.
This initiative told me that there's always a second chance. This initiative changed my life, got me closer to God.
This initiative just gave me a new life. Like, it's about taking steps forward and not going backwards.
How important it is to look out for each other and stay out the way, and to stay level-headed for our future.
Is faith alive?
Faith is alive.
Now, so far, more than 100 inmates at Rikers have participated in the Fatherless No More initiative, and most of them have chosen to be baptized while they've been there.
And Pastor Tim actually moved there?
He moved there, George. He said he didn't know anything about Rikers Island. He just had it, and he prayed, and it came to him. So he actually moved there 3 years ago. He moved into the parking lot of Rikers Island in an RV, and he lived there for months. And now he goes back once a month for a week to continue this initiative. But you can see he's trying to change lives, and these kids give them hope. Yeah. And hopefully they'll get out and at least know that there's a positive and better direction they can go in.
That's all there is to it. Imagine the fact that, you are just basically supporting. Of course, Pastor Tim with Fatherless No More, dude, that is amazing work. And you can just see the impact that he does have on these men. And hopefully they turn their lives around when they do get out. I just like to see positive impacts. See what happens when you have positive impacts. You actually get positive results. You can learn a lot, Taco. Anyway, that being said, that's going to do it for this podcast, guys. Thank you all for liking, for watching, for letting people know this is live. Some shameless promotion before we do get out of here, guys. Shout out to Always Press Record TV, APR TV. Why? Because How the Frack We Got Here shows on there. You can check out APR TV on the Roku channel or on the Amazon Fire TV app. Definitely check them out and other shows that are on the network. At the same time, guys, BlurredStation.com. Blurred Station, I've talked about this all the time. It is the new spot. It is where our viewership, our content, most importantly, our dollars should be going to. Definitely check out BlurredStation.com. It is $10.99 a month to stream Blurred Station. Again, Blurred Station streams on all smart devices. Definitely check that out. Also, runforoffice.org. You want to know how Moms for Liberty did it? You want to know how the crazy people did it? Well, this is how they did it at first. You basically type in your address, and it'll help you through the process of learning how you can run for office if you do feel the need to serve, whether it's locally or nationally. Again, once you go through those processes, get your names on the ballot and hopefully be able to serve, because we have said it many a times on this thing. Times are changing and we do need to be more active. And the only way we can be more active is to get involved, to be informed, to get others involved, because trust me, the machine that's behind Taco can be defeated, but it will take all of us. That being said, guys, check out How the Frack We Got Here on all socials, on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Like, share, and subscribe. As for myself, Black_Spartan 615. You definitely check me out there and follow me from there. Again, I know a lot of things go on in the world, guys, but don't doom scroll. Put the phone down, go outside, enjoy the sunshine, as long as it's not, excessive heat. And if you are outside, please stay hydrated. But do something that makes you laugh, something that makes you fun. Check on your people, whether it's a phone call or text. At the same time, protect your peace and protect your mindset. You'll be better off for it in the long run. At the same time, guys, I cannot stress enough, the midterms are next year. Get to know the people that you are wanting to have in office for you. This is unfortunately going to take all of us, not just one of us or some of us. As much as I would love to say that there's another Barack Obama on the horizon, it may be another 50 years before we get another Barack Obama. But the thing I'm getting at is, guys, all of this can be done if all of us work together toward the same goal and purpose. That being said, the last thing is about how the Frack We Got Here. It's all about staying informed. We are not trying to reinvent the wheel, guys. We're just giving you all the information allowed you to make up your own mind. But we do provide a lot of perspective that goes along with it. We do better as society once we're informed. We're progressive. We move forward. We try to right the wrongs of our past and making decisions now that we should have done back then. Like electing our first black woman to the Supreme Court, electing our first black woman to the Federal Board of Governors. Maybe one day, electing our first black woman to be called Madam President. All great things. When we don't learn from history, we are doomed to repeat it. That's what we keep asking ourselves. Why does everything go up at our paycheck? Why are we electing different politicians but still the same old game in Congress? And most importantly, how the Frack We Got Here. Thank you all for watching, guys. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and I promise we will get through this. Peace.